Ever want to take a picture or record an animal far away with your cell phone, but it ends up being a shaky mess or the photos aren't clear? Check out the Snapshot Spotter from Ollin. It's designed to go straight on your cell phone. It's a magnetic connection that self-centers for perfect alignment every time. No more shaky videos. Get picture perfect quality with Ollin. Today on the podcast, we got an avid goose hunter from Pennsylvania, Coy Scott. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man.
Coy, what part of Pennsylvania are you from?
Claysville. So it's a little town about 30 minutes south of Pittsburgh.
What's there to do around there besides hunt?
Uh, Man, anything outdoors. We're into kids are into sports. I'm into fishing. Whatever I could be outside, that's what I'm gonna be doing.
And before we started recording, you talk about Pittsburgh being the big town, Pennsylvania as a whole, but there's a lot of country over there, countryside, and a lot of woods.
Yes, sir. Yeah, there's a lot of woods. There's a lot of farmland. Pretty much anywhere you drive, you get out of the city limits, you're into farmland.
So how did you get started in the outdoors?
So I mean, I remember my grandpap was big into deer hunting. My dad was big into deer hunting, and I could tell stories for days on deer hunting with Pap and Dad, and that kind of kicked my start into being an avid hunter. Real big into deer hunting off the bat, turkeys, pheasants. We had bird dogs, and then my dad hooked up with this dude who got him into duck and goose hunting, and that first hunt from then on out, I was hooked.
So you say probably goose hunting would be your favorite?
It could go there. It's going to be a close between that and that first day of duck season two. I'd much rather goose hunt, but I always look forward to that first day of duck season as well.
So how does that fall out up there? Is it goose season first and then ducks? Because I know it depends on where you're at in the United States. Sometimes they have an early goose season. How's that working where you're hunting it?
So September 1st, that brings in our resident goose season up here, and we get to hunt from September 1st to the 25th this year. Um, we only get to hunt. We don't get to hunt any Sundays. At least I didn't see yet. There were some talks in them letting us hunt Sundays, but I didn't see them on this year's schedule. But our resident season is always in September. You're allowed to shoot 8 geese apiece in early season, and then it'll kick out till that week in October. And then when that week in October comes for that split, that knocks us down to where we're only allowed to shoot 5 apiece. And then after that split, we go from November to January. And then once January's out, then we get a late season in February.
Do you pretty much alternate between duck hunting and goose hunting, or you kind of focus on one, or it just depends on what you're seeing?
We kind of do both. We've learned that. So kind of up here, the ducks really like the geese. So 90% of the time, if goose season's in with duck season, because we will have a couple times where duck and goose season don't overlap. We always run goose decoys. We're always running goose decoys. It's like a confidence builder for ducks, and we're always hunting around places that have geese. So you kind of get to do both. You know what I mean? Uh, Pretty much all the time throughout the season.
So especially those early seasons or late seasons when they don't overlap, you definitely have to be paying attention. Something comes in the decoys, if you get too excited, you got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing your species is pretty big. From up here, we have the greater Canadas. Um, this past year, we got lucky enough to start seeing some lessers in a flock that we were hunting. And that was the first time I've seen lessers actually in a flock that we were hunting. And to get them up close, if they came in with a flock of mallards, you'd have a hard time, other than the different sound, the body size, they're pretty close when they're flying through the air. Obviously your geese, your graders have real long necks. They're giants. I mean, they're 20 plus pound birds.
Right, they look like eagles flying through there.
That they do.
So how many days, just say on average a year, do you get to go out and bird hunt?
So starting in September, I actually take the whole first week off. I love it that much that first week of goose season, I take it off because I'm already pumped up. After that, man, after the first week, I'm hunting every weekend, every day that I can, that work allows me and family time allows me, especially with my buddies and their schedules. We're always linking up, trying to hunt literally as much as we possibly can.
So if you just had to throw a number out, 60 days, 70, 80, what do you think?
I bet you on average we hunt 60 to 70 days a year for goose season.
And by the time you get to the end, it ain't enough. You always
No.
want a couple extra days.
You kind of start getting burned out there around February, like especially when they've seen a whole bunch of decoy spreads, and you're starting to get burned out of like, man, this you get a couple bad hunts, you're like, man, we're about done with the season. So
Yeah, we're totally opposite down here in the South because we're just now getting the birds those last couple of weeks. So we're like, come on, we need to push the season back.
yeah.
So for somebody that's wanting to maybe think about getting into goose hunting, what kind of decoy setup do you find most effective? At least in your group that you hunt, do you go like full body, silhouette, socks, or is it kind of like a mixture? It just depends on the day.
It depends on how you're hunting them, depends on the day, location wise. If we're on a feed, 90% of the time we're running full bodies, and we're we're keeping it down to a minimum. We don't ever really run over 5 dozen. Very, very rarely do we ever run over 5 dozen full bodies.
So you're not out there at midnight putting out 700 decoys.
No, no. I mean, on average, we're hunting, a feeds of 400 birds to less than 100. I mean, I've had some killer hunts where we've only been hunting 50, 60 birds, but they were just coming in right to where it made it worthwhile doing it.
That's the bad part, right? I mean, till you see how they react to it, you kind of just judge off of what you've had success with, and then do you find it better if you put too many out and pull them up, or have to go out there and put them out? If that's the case.
We always start with more and then pull when we need to. We let that first flock kind of tell us, first two, 1 to 2 flocks tell us what they want to do, where they want to land. Um, it in being with that, scouting has a lot to do with our way that we're going to set up our decoys and how many. If you're hunting 50 birds to 100 birds, man, we've killed them over a dozen, 18 decoys, and it has worked phenomenal. They see that little pack and they're in. You get to the bigger feeds, that 3, 4, 5 dozen decoys works great. Uh, and but paying attention to how they're set up in the field has been something I've noticed that really has keyed into some of our success of having really good hunts. Just you drive past the field, you look and see, oh, there's geese over there. I'm gonna go hunt that field. But then you set up on the far opposite side of them. Well, guess what? They done already ate that corn on that side of the field. They ain't going there. So scouting is a big part of that, of going out, seeing where the birds are, seeing how they're feeding, if they're feeding up the hill, if they're feeding out the hill, and being more as realistic as you possibly can with your decoy setups, um, especially when you're hunting those big flocks, can really help you.
There's no substitute for time in the field. Going out there, like you said, just making sure there's even birds in that area, right? I mean, I think a lot of times, and you can attest to this, is a lot of these younger or inexperienced hunters, they set their decoys out, maybe a certain way they seen on TV it worked or whatever, and they don't make those adjustments. It just that's your morning, no matter if you kill them or not. And I think that's kind of just comes from inexperience, don't you think?
Yeah, you're correct on that, and we've noticed. I hunt with a group of anywhere between 5 to 8 people. Um, it, and having guys that aren't afraid to put in the work and notice that stuff, and hey, let's make a suggestion. Like, this flock hasn't landed, or this flock didn't do nothing. Hey, everybody step out and look at a decoy spread. What do you see? And it's come up to where we've moved one decoy and it's the birds started landing. We've moved our whole spread 10 feet up the hill, and it's helped. So, just don't be afraid to move and make those adjustments in that time frame when you're waiting for birds to come. And 90% of the time when you go to move a decoy, their birds are going to be coming. They're going to be not far from you. That's just about how it always happens.
That or somebody has to use the restroom. That's definitely, you might as well get your gun ready.
Yep.
So what, like, do you have a certain, brand of decoy you use, or you kinda got it mixed all over? What's your kinda go-to?
Uh, so I got 3 dozen of Dakota full bodies. I got 5 dozen of the dive bomb silhouettes. Other guys in our group, they have greenhead gears. We kind of got a mixture um, of kind of all sorts of stuff. We truly run our full bodies really hard in September and throughout the year. Now, if we're gonna run traffic, we'll run 15 dozen silhouettes.
To some people hearing this, they might still think that's not enough, but, I mean, I've seen some pictures, from our mutual friend, and, I mean, y'all kill them.
Last year we had a really good year. I think we shot just under 300 birds for the season, and we really didn't get to hunt as hard as we really wanted to last year with the weather and everyday life. But we had a really good season last year.
What kind of, what's your go-to calls whenever you're hunting geese?
So I was real big with a Tim Grounds. I had a $79 call from Cabela's. It was a Tim Grounds that I've blown for years. One of the guys that I met through a mutual friend and everything. He was blown with a you made me blank real quick. United, United Call Works. They have a just a big goose call. It's very easy to break over. It's easy to run notes on. I picked up one of those. I'm really happy with it. I just picked it up at the end of the season last year, so this season will be the telling sign of whether I'm going to keep it on my lanyard or not. But I like it, so I think it's going to stay there.
What kind of, shotgun you use? I'm assuming 12 gauge, or y'all shoot some 20s sometimes?
We're using both actually. So I just picked up a Beretta A300 for a 20 gauge this year. I'm gonna try to break it out goose hunting a little bit this year, more than my 12 gauge, especially that early season. Um, I do shoot a Benelli Silver Black Eagle too. Just kind of been the gun that I picked up duck hunting. So it was one of those things where you know how rough it could get between rain, snow, ice, mud, sand. So I
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of just allotted that one for my waterfowl hunting.
Yeah, actually, this past year, it was the first year I've shot a A300, and I would say probably at the beginning, it took a lot of it was way different than what I've used to shoot. I mean, I've shot Remingtons and, Winchester. It just seemed like I don't know if it was the way it was shouldering, but toward the end of the season, it started becoming of course, it's the person shooting it, right? It's usually not the gun, but it was such a big difference for me that at first I was early season, I was shooting improved cylinders just because I could not get on a bird. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, they do make a difference. Especially pattern your gun, and that's something I didn't do for the longest time, and we've been talking about it, and I did this year, and shooting chokes, check your chokes, see what they like. You know, our go-to. I was a Migra fan for years. Guys that we hunt with, they like Kent's and Apex, and I picked up the Kent number 2 precisions this year, and actually won a gun at a clay shoot for Ducks Unlimited, and it came with a Rob Roberts T2 choke. Man, that Kent and that Rob Roberts choke and that Benelli is deadly. They just like each other. And once I found it, I won't switch it.
I've never heard a negative story about Rob Roberts. He from industry wide, he's the choke man. Um, you got kicks and Carlson jabs.
No, and what kind of turned me on to that was and knowing where how my gun shot with those shells and that choke was man, we were hunting a pond and this lone goose was just flying over. He was in that part of town where you almost didn't want to shoot at him, but you're like, look, dude, you need to fly away. Like this, you've made 7 passes already, and you won't commit. So my buddy's like, just shoot at him. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get him out of here. And it was a good 70 yard, if not a touch further, and I folded him. And the guys were like, wow. And I've noticed that some of my cleanup shots that are on the ground that our birds are out there a little bit, you're trying to get down, I'm just laying them over. So that's what really opened my eyes up to, man, you really need to look at your chokes. And actually, my buddies that I hunt with, he shoots an A5, and he brought one of those Rob Roberts T2 chokes in. His shot ratio is awesome. It improved with that.
That's awesome, and like I said, he makes some great stuff, and in my Remingtons, I shoot kicks, and I thought going straight to Beretta, I tried kicks, not saying they're a bad brand, it just that was not the pattern for that gun. Went to a Carlson, made a huge difference. It was almost night and day, but, like you just said, I mean, different guns, different ammo, different people, right? I mean, everything's gonna be different, so like you said, just get out there, shoot your gun, and you always think you have enough time, but you really don't. I mean, we're already in July, and early September. That season's gonna be right around the corner.
Yes, it is. And that's where, I have 2 boys, and, they love to duck goose hunt with us, and we try to throughout the summer, keep them shooting with their 20 gauges and, shooting trap. That helps tremendously is staying in that rhythm of just knowing, how to pick up the gun and shoulder it, and that comfort level of, your leads and all that stuff.
Speaking of your boys, what would be some tips for like the dads with younger kids if they want to take that next step hunting birds? What's some key tips you found that helped you out?
Take them. It don't matter whether it's raining, it's cold, whether it's gonna be a good hunt, a bad hunt, take them, get them out there and let them enjoy and see what waterfowl hunting is all about. That to me, it could be -10, and my boys are like, "Hey, can we go?" I'm like, "Guys, it's a little bit colder." "We don't care." You know, it goes to the point where me and my wife, we bought sleeping bags for them, stick in our layout blinds to keep them warm. Don't hold them back. Let them enjoy, seeing the things that we get to see as avid waterfowl hunters, on a daily basis, because you do get to see some really neat stuff and get to experience some things that most people don't get to.
100%. I mean, I had same situation. We had the biggest ice storm in North Louisiana that we've had at least since I've been alive, and roads were shut down, and it was iced over. I mean, if you didn't have a four-wheel drive, even then, you don't. Nobody needed to be on the road, but it was only duck hunters on the road, and he wanted to go every day, and I was like, man, if something happened, I couldn't live with myself. So, unfortunately, he didn't get to go that week, but he was there any other day. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm saying that with like, use your best judgment, because we had a situation where it got cold here. We got to the boat ramp. It was me, my buddy, and my son. And him and we were sitting there talking. We're like, hey, I'm gonna let my 9-year-old shoot a couple birds, and my buddy played cleanup. And we got to the boat ramp, and man, I got to put the boat in, and I look, my bilge pump is froze. My plug holes froze, and I looked at him. I said, "Look," I said, "on any other given day, I said, this wouldn't be a problem." I said, "But today, I don't want to take the chance of not being able to get the water out of my boat." We were hunting a river that has some pretty strong current, and I mean, make your best judgment. But those good hunts, or those hunts that's they could go on, throw them in a blind, whether they had whether you're letting them shoot or not. Get them a blind, get them in it, and let them enjoy it.
What kind of success did they have this year? Did they get to get some birds, or how did that work out?
Yeah, so, uh, my my stepson's 14, and I have another son that's 9. We, took him up for early season up north in the swamps, and we, let them all shoot some wood ducks. We got a nice little spot where, man, the wood ducks just do it right. They come in 5, 10 yards, and they put on a show, and they got to shoot a couple real nice woodies that I got to put on the wall for them this year. They both shot, I'm gonna say 20, 25 geese each, letting them go. Most of my later season, If it was a good field hunt, I bought a die bomb A-frame or die bomb layout blind, and my little boy can sit right between my legs with his little 20 gauge, and we'll land flocks of birds. And all the guys I hunt with, they're real good. Are like, hey, see on a bird? Like, you on one? Yep. All right, buddy. I'd yell down the blinds. Yep, he's good. And they'd say, let him shoot. We'll play cleanup. And he gets to shoot, and he, I got a picture of him holding up a bird that's as big as he is.
Yeah, that's, that's pretty cool. I mean, 25, I mean, that's more than some people shooting a whole year. I mean, to be honest, it sounds like a low number, but not everybody has the success. So that's pretty cool that he got to break out and really kill some birds this year.
Yeah, I mean they love it, and like I said, I don't ever hold them back, but I our group teaches them the right way. Like they put the work in. If I'm scouting and the boys are off school or whatnot, they're in the back of the truck with me. Then we get to the field. Hey, you guys need to brush in your blind. Hey, you guys need help set decoys. You're helping pick up decoys. Like we make them understand that this isn't just like a vacation. This is work. And because goose hunting is work. I mean, waterfowl hunting in general is work.
Fieldware is made for the work that happens long before opening day and continues when season ends. Built for early mornings, full days, and real use. Hard wearing where it needs to be, versatile where it matters. No shortcuts. Just gear designed for the work that earns the season. The Gravel Pant is an all-season durable utility pant constructed from stretched duck cotton and featuring First Light's best-selling straight leg 308 fit. The pants are loaded for whatever the day brings. Visit firstlight.com today to order yours. Do you prefer a A-frame blind or do you prefer a layout blind?
It all depends on where you're at, what type of field you're hunting. If you're gonna hunt an edge, I do like an A-frame or a panel blind. We hunt a lot out of panel blinds just because we got some pretty good edge hides we can get into. But I do like my layouts. There's something about getting that close to your decoys and your birds, and getting a flock of geese that land, you know, off your shoe bags, and it's I don't know, I can't even describe it. We had birds where their feet you could reach up and grab a hold of their feet coming over your head. I think it's just such a more of a cool surprise to sit up and you're like, oh, this, those are close. Instead of sitting in an A-frame and they're landing, 40 yards out, 30 yards out.
Now for the people that don't know, I mean, those layout blinds though, you get tired, sitting up and getting back down, back and forth, back and forth. It ain't like you just sitting there and standing up. You're actually having to work them ab muscles a little bit.
Yeah, and it's definitely hard, come that late season when you're wearing 4 different layers of clothing, to sit up there and be able to shoulder your gun, and it takes a lot of practice, and I always get them out, prior to season, get them cleaned up, and yeah, I found out that if you take one, you put a yoga mat in the bottom of it, man, it gives you a lot more comfort, especially laying there, and you kinda don't stove up as much, especially if you're on uneven ground, but I get the kids, to lay down on that and get their Nerf guns out or, something that they could shoulder and bust through it. And I do the same thing because it is. I mean, you can get yourself in a tangle and you can get yourself hurt too if you're not comfortable and understanding how to do it.
Yeah, for sure. If you wait till day one or your first hunt is in the very cold, you haven't been practicing. I mean, you can pull a muscle easily. It's not, we joke about that kind of stuff, but that's the truth.
Yeah, yeah, that is the truth with that, and something that we preach on a lot. And for people that don't know, about what a layout blind is, there's a lot of things going, and that's something that I've had to teach my 9-year-old a lot of because he's a dad. I could do that. I'm like, no, bud, you don't understand. There's a lot of moving parts to them, and you're taking the safety off of your gun as you're coming up, because you want to get up and be ready. So, I mean, one wrong move, man, that could be catastrophic. So the practice lets you know, like, hey, I could come up and when I'm out of my doors, I don't have nothing that's going to constrict me, and keeping stuff off the sides of your blinds and laying like right next to you. That's a big thing too, because I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times that, and I'm guilty of it, and I'm in a layout blind all the time that, I've laid my backpack in there just because I was rushing. I didn't realize that my strap was caught, somewhere on the gun. I come up and I'm like, why can't I get my gun out? Well, it's because, I mean, there was something on the, holding it back.
Yeah, it definitely can be, I mean, a scary thing, and not just for you, but other people. If that gun comes up sideways and something pulls that trigger, that's it. I mean, there's nothing. Uh, that's a good point. Being mindful of where your gun is and where everything else is around you. You got to be your brother's keeper. If you see your buddy, maybe he didn't take his sling off or whatever the case may be. Hey man, you might need to move that. Just little things like that can help everybody out.
Yeah, absolutely. And knowing, once you get into it, like I said, uh, we're just hunters. We're not guides or anything. We do this because we love the sport. But you really start to pay attention and realize that when you get a 20-pound bird in their backswing, and they're actually coming down to the ground, how much time you actually do have to get out of your blind safely and make that good ethical shot. I mean, you have 15 to 30 seconds to get yourself up and get yourself set before they're picking back up. They're slow. When they're setting their feet down and they got to get back up, they're really slow.
Yes, but you're not trying to do this on teal. I mean, you do, but as far as goose hunting goes, it's not like teal buzzing you, and by the time you even see where they're at, they're gone.
We've had them land at our boot bags and uh kind of get pretty close, but 90% of the time they're out in front of us. But that's a lot of weight coming down at a lot of force, once you start shooting them in the air.
So, you know, season's right around the corner, right? What what is and try to make it, one sentence. When you see that first group of geese or ducks, it could be either one. When they're coming in, they're fully committed. What is that feeling like?
It's go time. I mean, that's it. I mean, the excitement, and that's kind of what we always say is it's go time.
Right. I mean, there and I keep preaching this on every episode, but whenever you put your decoys out, put the time out to find these birds, set the decoys up, and watch them birds come into your decoys, knowing that you got them. All you have to do now is the money shot, and then like what we're going back to, and knowing your gun. You put in all this effort, get your decoys right, all this effort. Why chance you not knowing how that gun's going to shoot? You know, that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, you've set up all the cards. I mean, everything's going right. Why chance it with faulty equipment?
And the older I get, the more I just go ahead and bite the bullet. Just cry one time, get quality equipment, especially when it's waterfowl hunting. Everybody's got a price range, but if you just go ahead and try to get that quality equipment, I mean, it makes a world of difference. You don't have to layer up as much, and your stuff will last a lot longer, or it should, right? I just find that the quality equipment. I mean, it's there. It's there for a reason.
Absolutely, you're correct on that one. I mean, we, I'm not, I'm not like a Sitka fanatic, but I'm gonna say their stuff works. I mean, I have a lot of it. Um, Dive Bombs come out with some really good stuff. We have a set of undergarments that are called the airweights, and being able to take, you know, especially when we get the cold up here. And this year we've hunted a -24. That goes the coldest I've ever hunted. And I had a pair of pants, my air weights, and my waders on, and I was warm.
And I can attest. So, we're not partnered with Dive Bomb, but my son uses it. He's 9. He has the onesie. And oh
Yep.
my goodness, everybody that hunted around him, adults or kids, it didn't matter. They all wanted a onesie after they saw his because it's got the hood, it's fluffy, but it also fits under his waders. I wouldn't have thought that, because it's kind of is puffy, but it lays down good too, and it's got the little boot straps on it. He loves that thing. He'll wear it deer hunting. It doesn't matter. That thing is warm.
And knowing your clothing is a big deal because you don't want to be 4 layers deep, 5 layers deep underneath your waders where you can't move. I mean, you got to have the mobility and specking out your clothes right, and listening to your buddies. If something works, try it. I mean, get some feedback from them. If they have it, and you're like, hey man, what's that? And that's kind of how I fell into that. Is one of my best friends that I goose hunt with. I mean, him and I are inseparable when it comes to goose season and waterfowl season and fishing season. He bought this set of air weights, and I was like, I come up to camp one weekend and he throws these air weights on and I'm like, you know, long johns.
Yeah, what's that?
What I'm long johns, pants, sweatpants, you know what I mean? And I had Drake waders, but I couldn't move in the insulation in them. So like I pulled my insulation out. I was better off making a different layer than that insulation. He's like, dude, you got to order a pair of these. I was like, yeah, they're that warm. He said, trust me. And I'm a sales guy. I love watching for sales. So the electric camo came on sale one day, dude. It was like $79 for the set. And I'm like, yep, I don't care what it looks like as long as it keeps me warm.
Yep, sold.
And doing that, now when I go out and I bought a set of their waders and man, I could go anywhere, it doesn't matter how cold it is, and throw on just a regular pair of thin pants, those air weights, and throw my waders on, and I'm warm.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, Squad Fest is next weekend, man. You might as well go on down to Missouri.
I think that's our trip for next year. We're planning a vacation to Ocean City with the kids, so I don't really think the LA would like for me to be flying the flots down there this year. It looks like a good time, man. We've talked about going, but we actually have a trip planned this year to North Dakota, so we're just kind of getting all that stuff in line and kind of banking our money for that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There'll be time for it. I don't think that festival's going anywhere anytime soon. So you hunt your snows, your Canadians, and your specks. Rank those geese by taste, and then rank them by hunting satisfaction.
Well, unfortunately, this was going to be pretty easy for me, but we don't really kill that many snows here, and I've never shot a speck. So I pretty much just get to eat the Canadas, and they're gonna have to take number one for me for right now.
Well, yeah, that was easy. That was easy right there.
I did actually get to shoot a blue goose this year. It was really wild, man. It's funny. We were hunting a farm. I was at work, and buddy's like, "Hey, the geese have been hitting this farm," and he's like, "Take your stuff with you to work." I'm like, "All right." So I rolled out at 3 o'clock, met him at the field. I actually had my son with me, and we rolled up there. And it was just before shooting light was ending. The flock came over uh, the treetops, and we were actually breaking down because we didn't see no geese. I mean, we were there from 3 to 5, and we didn't even hear a bird. And they come in quiet, and I looked over my shoulder. I'm like, "Hey, hey, hey!" I said, "They're right here." I said, "Hold on." We had our doors open, our layup blinds. We were actually just kneeling in them, and they lit. I mean, right into the decoy spread. I looked there. I told my buddy, I'm like, "Hey," I said, "shoot that snow." And he's like, "There ain't no snow there." I'm like, "Yeah, there is." I said, "Shoot that snow." He's like, "There's no snow there." While I'm reloading my gun because I had all my shells out.
Yeah, you'll shoot it.
I reloaded my gun, spun around, shot it, dropped that one. A Canada picked up behind it, and I folded that one too. And he looked at me, he goes, "Man," he goes, "you were right." And then at first, I mean, and that's where it's tough. I mean, I didn't realize it was a blue goose,
Mm,
which I mean, we're legal to shoot, but we don't ever get them here. I mean, that's something you don't see.
he must have fell in with the other ones.
Must have. It was kind of funny because about a week later, uh, the one of the dudes I hunt with, he sends me a picture of it. He said, "Hey," he said, "this was on somebody's pond," and he was asking me what it was, and I was like, "Yeah, well, that's the one I shot."
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah.
So, do you do a lot of traveling to hunt, or you just hunt locally?
We hunt a lot of just locally right here. We have a pretty decent resident population of geese. We do get some migrators, but it's not until late in the season. So where I live, I'm so close to the tri-state area, so I can be in West Virginia in 20 minutes. I can be in Ohio in 30 minutes. I'm kind of dead smack in the middle between the Monongahela River and the Ohio River. So I buy my West Virginia license, and I'll hunt both rivers because the way our seasons run with West Virginia is they're always like a week behind. So when Pennsylvania's goes out, West Virginia is still in for another week, and then sometimes Ohio's will overlap. So we're pretty much just chasing the season, between these three states, and it's all within an hour of our house.
Yeah. So, I mean, one starts earlier and then the splits and all that, you could literally just hunt all the whole season.
Yeah, and that's kinda what we do is we just watch the seasons and, uh, all the splits, and we just, run here, run there. When P's out, we'll go to West Virginia for that week. West Virginia and Ohio's they're pretty close to the same where they all end at about the same time. Sometimes we'll get a week here and there. I mean, it's like that at the end of the season. You just want that one more week, and that drives you to buy the license. Hey, birds show up in PA, but it's the last week. Hey, you know, we could drive 30 minutes here, and we're gonna be in West Virginia on the Ohio River. And guess what? There's birds there. Let's go hunt them.
Do you think, we all watch, either YouTube videos or see people killing birds all over the country, right? From Washington to Florida, from Maine to California. Do you think the Northeast is underrated when it comes to duck and goose hunting? Not saying point out any spots, just in general across the board.
Man, that's a loaded, kind of a tough question.
Well, you always hear Kansas, Arkansas, South Louisiana, Mississippi. They get all the, or at least used to get all the glory of that's duck hunting, goose hunting. Do y'all think y'all are underrated though?
We can be, if you put the time in, it can be really good here. I mean, we've had some awesome years, and I've only been goose hunting for about 6 years. I've been duck hunting for about 8. I didn't really get into goose hunting at first, and it was more duck hunting. But I listen to the stories of the some of the older gentlemen that I hunt with. Are like, man, you know, 15, 20 years ago, this place was killer,
That's
and
everywhere.
yeah, it's everywhere now, but you can have a really good hunt here, but you might have to shift, you might have to go up north. You're gonna have to chase the birds. We don't have we're on the edge of the flyway. So like we're the Atlantic and the Mississippi, we're like right on that edge. And it seems like every couple years they'll shift out and they'll move back. And, you know, one year, man, we'll get a bunch of birds. The next year, they, good luck.
Right.
So it can be if you time it right, you put the effort in, it could be a little bit underrated, but it isn't like anything that you see out north. I mean, we don't get the thousands and thousands of birds that you see coming into a decoy spread or, see that 4 or 5,000, birds feed. I mean, your feeds here, man, if you hit 5, 600 birds, man, you got something.
Yeah. No, I totally get it. And the way that people can manipulate farmland, and I don't want to get into that a lot, but uh, it's definitely changing the way these birds react, at least to the migration pattern, because we haven't really seen a lot of cold, these last couple of years. At least in Louisiana, like I said, we we were kind of hot all the way through until the first January, and we get 2 weeks, and that was the best 2 weeks we had all season. I think the weather definitely plays a lot. It's just once the farther they go south, the more they're spread out. It seems like.
Yeah, and we see it too. Like, so we have Lake Erie that's way north. It's 2.5 hours north of us here in Washington County, and you'll start seeing the pictures, because Prescott Bay's right there, um, and those people start posting pictures of just your normal birders on Facebook, and the birds that you'll see there. Now, and you think about it, 2 hours of flying, from a bird is not that much,
Right.
and it's loaded. I mean, it's loaded up there, but it ain't down here. You know what I mean? So where's the disconnect from there to here? The birds are moving south. I mean, we're south. Well, why ain't they flying this way? Sometimes it seems like they'll veer right, or they'll go out east, or they'll go west and go over that Ohio, or Cincinnati, Ohio, like that Columbus area. It'll get loaded up with birds. And it's a 3 hour trip for us over that way, but it's just different. It's kind of weird to explain, and don't really understand how we're not far from some of the places that just get absolutely loaded with birds, and it's the same land.
I think one misconception it might be, maybe these birds are actually traveling side to side, a little bit. They could go west, they'd go east and still be finding food, and if it's not cold enough to freeze all that food, I mean, that's a that's a good question, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, everybody talks about, "Oh, hunt the north winds," and all that stuff, and we hunted north winds, we're like, "Yep, sky's pretty clear today."
Same birds. Yeah, same birds.
Man, I think I called that mallard in yesterday. Yeah, you know what I mean? As they're flying by, it's really weird, on some of how that works, and your flocks of geese come in a lot heavier, but it's almost like they stall out too sometimes. It all goes on food too. I mean, sometimes the north of us, I mean, they plant a lot of corn. That's a lot
Mm,
bigger farmland, 2 hours, just right below Erie and all that stuff.
right.
And sometimes they stall out there, I feel. I might be wrong, I don't know, somebody might know a lot more than I do. Like I said, I'm just your average hunter. I just do this because I really, really enjoy it.
Oh,
But
yeah, 100%.
it's it's tough to say.
Yeah, so what how is the are the birds pressured kinda where in the area you hunt? Is it, a lot of hunters, or it just depends on the season?
You get more hunters every year. It used to be pretty decent from what, the guys have said, where it wasn't, there was only a couple groups, but the younger generation that's, starting into this, and uh they there's a lot of people that hunt our area, and you have to get on the birds when you see them. You can't let a feed build. You have to get on them and try to hunt them, because if not, somebody else will.
Right. What's some tips that you would give a new hunter getting into, goose hunting?
Man, do it the right way. I mean, go get the permission. Treat that landowner's land like it's yours. Leave that the way you found it. Don't overhunt those birds. If you're, if you got permission on a farm and they're there this day, don't shoot them 4 days in a row. Give them that break. Um, and just be respectful for the other guys that's hunting too. I mean, it it goes a long way whenever we're all scouting the same areas pretty much, and you see a truck parked on the side of the road with binoculars, they're glassing that field because there's birds in it. You know, they plan on hunting that field, and I mean, you go get permission and oh, I'm gonna beat them there. Just be respectful. I mean, go up and ask the guy, hey, how many you hunting a group? Can we maybe join you? I mean, we've made friends that way. We've met some really good people just doing that, but having that respect, and treating the other guys to where you're not beating them to the field and making it a game goes a long way. I mean, we struggle with permission up here. We have a lot of farms that we have permission on, and we've had to work at it. There's some of the guys that just, man, they don't like the geese on their farm, so they want them gone. But permission for us is a big thing, and treating that land like it's ours and leave it the way we found it, and not doing anything to destroy it, because we've got a lot of no's because, well, so and so did this in their truck in the field, or man, I picked up nothing but shell casings, and my baler ran over, decoy stakes. Pick up your stuff. I mean, do it the right way, so that way, if you can't hunt, and you found other birds, maybe somebody else could get that chance.
Yeah, 100%. If it comes, 3-inch rain the night before, don't drive your truck out to the middle of that field.
No, no, and a lot of the landowners around here are pretty good guys. I mean, they're farmers, but they do have their rules, and if they give you rules, follow them. Don't just be like, "Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. How's he gonna know?" Well, just don't. Whether he knows or not, this is his rules. Follow them.
'Cause it doesn't just mess up like you said, it doesn't mess up that person's hunt, it messes up everybody that wanted to hunt that field from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we have a lot of farms, that allow multiple groups to hunt on them because they just want the birds going that much, and we've lost a couple farms because one group is screwed up and did something they shouldn't have been, and it just put a bad taste in somebody's mouth. And hey, man, hey, now you're not allowed to hunt them. Now you're watching all your birds land in that farm, and you can't do nothing about it.
100%, but let's get on a positive note. Te Tell me the best goose hunt that you've ever been a part of. When was it and what went down?
Oh man, that's a tough one too because I've had a lot of good ones. Probably my most memorable one so far this year. this past year, we were doing some scouting and found a pond that had 40 birds on it that we were struggling, and we really needed a good booster hunt. You know, if you know what I mean by that, is getting a hunt where you killed some stuff and had a good positive one.
Right.
And we set up. It was cold. It was really cold, and he was 8 at the time, but he went with us, and I had, the old propane out. We were sitting underneath of a pavilion, and man, these birds started coming, and we were just we couldn't get them cleaned up fast enough. And it was only 4 of us. We were only allowed to shoot, 20 birds. First bird I chased was a cripple. I'm carrying it back, and I felt something hit my hand. I'm like, I looked down, and it was banded. So I threw it on the ground, and I didn't even tell the guys. We started picking up birds, and it was like band after band after band after band. And we shot our limit really quick with a lesser in that limit too. And we got to give my little boy a band that day. I think that was probably the most memorable. I mean, even though he didn't shoot it, but everybody, we shot 5 bands, and the 4 grown-ups were the ones shooting, but he got to walk away with it, and man, that kid was just ecstatic.
You're messing up all of his, hunting stories from here on out when he killed that band. That's what he's gonna tell his buddies.
Hey, I told him, tell him how you want it, buddy.
No, that's awesome. Is there a abandoned facility pretty close to y'all? I mean, I mean, that seems like a lot of bands for one hunt.
There was a lot of local bands. I mean, they band in some of the local ponds around here, down along the rivers and stuff like that. So they were pretty local, but they were older. I think I want to say we killed a Moosonee band that day, if I remember correctly. I think that's where it was from. Actually, my good buddy ended up shooting that one. But it was it was kind of cool because we all knew we killed one. I mean, it was, when you shoot your lane, you kind of know what birds you killed. And when we were shooting our lanes, because we are very big on that, we kind of know which birds we were shooting and knowing, and we all killed a band that day. So that was pretty neat.
That's gonna be hard to beat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, other than my absolute all-time favorite hunt is our youth day veteran hunts. I mean, that we have one every year for the kids, and my dad's a veteran. One of our other hunting partners is a veteran, and putting the 2 boys, we have another little boy that goes with us. We only have 3 boys and the 2 grown-ups there, but watching the grown-ups shoot and miss because they're trying to play cleanup, I don't know if you could. I mean, it's not a goose hunt, it's your duck hunt, it's your early wood duck and teal, but I don't know if you could beat that one.
So they allow, during youth season, it's a youth hunt and a veterans hunt?
Yeah, so here in PA, we have a youth hunt, that's just the youth, and then they have a youth and veterans. Um, we always take the boys for youth season, and then we take them for the youth and veterans hunt. And like I said, the wood ducks do it right, and I give really a lot of credit to the grown ups that go with us. They let the kids shoot. They're there to play cleanup and laugh and have a good time and make sure their birds don't get out. But man, do we have an absolute blast.
That's awesome. I mean, that especially, like, all within your family, that, fellowship to where you can spend it with your friends and family, that always makes a special hunt.
Yeah, absolutely it does. And you know, being a waterfowl hunter and everything, you know, you really create a bond with a lot of guys that you hunt with. And I mean, you're like family, and I call any one of these guys I hunt with, and they'd be for me, here in a second if I needed them, whether I was in my hometown or 3 states away. But I do the same thing for them. But man, come September through February, I'm with them more than I am with my wife half the time.
That that's just the life of a hunter. I mean, you try to put in your honeydews and all that during the summer and all that, and it always seems like there's something else to do, or you're always trying to play catch up.
Yep, yeah, you're always your honey to do list is pretty big when it comes springtime.
So what hunting plans do you have for 2026?
So we planned a trip to North Dakota this year. This will be our first kind of out of state trip that I've taken, with our group. And it'll be we're gonna go out in second week of October, or week actually, sorry, be third week of October, a week after our opener, and we're gonna go out and see what North Dakota is all about. I've heard a lot of stories, seen a lot of pictures, and we're gonna go out and do a DIY and see how many birds we can find and kill some new species.
That's gonna be awesome, especially, I mean, anytime you go somewhere new, it's always a you don't really know what to expect, right? You're always thinking best case, and then, we went this past year, first time to West Oklahoma just to try it, and reality hit us right in the mouth. And we were about a week too early. It was still hot. It was right after Christmas, and the last day that we were there, that's when we saw tons of birds. But leading up to that, the whole week, I mean, nothing. We traveled, I think, a couple hundred miles just around the area we're hunting in, and couldn't find them. But I think being that early and that far north, I think you're gonna have a great hunt.
Man, we hope so. Like I said, we've been planning this trip for about 2 years now, and the stars have aligned, and everybody could go. And I think it's going to be a good trip, whether you kill a lot or not. I mean, going with your core group of people and getting to go experience something different and seeing, what you don't get to see here because we don't get a lot of the specks and the snows and the different ducks. I mean, you're lucky when we kill mallards, black ducks, wood ducks. That's about it. And you get your common divers. Don't really kill many different ducks here. So I'm really looking forward to getting out there and seeing how that goes and how to hunt them out there and learning something different and a little bit, some different challenge at that.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this might be the answer to the next question, but what would be your dream bird hunt?
Man, I want to go to Alaska. That's that's on my bucket list. My dad's been to Alaska. He's got to shoot some sea ducks, and I'm a sucker for some sea ducks. And I think Alaska is going to be one of my top dream hunts to get up there and shoot some eiders and harlequin and Barrett's goldeneye.
But if I had to pick one duck to put on the wall, that Harlequin duck looks amazing.
Yeah, seeing them up close, the old man's got one on the wall, and that bird is really really pretty. That is definitely a trip that we have talked about doing in the next couple years, especially probably when the boys get able, old enough and they're able to go with us.
Oh yeah, if you could do that with all your family right there, and especially if y'all have a good hunt and everybody kills one, I mean, you can't. There's no words to say what that picture's going to show.
Yeah, yeah, you're correct. I mean, it just to live that up there would be awesome, and to see one, in person would be cool. Even if I don't get to shoot one, but just to be able to say, hey, I hunted Alaska, and I had a chance to shoot a harlequin, but I didn't take the shot, or I missed. I mean, I'll laugh if I have to say if I missed, but just to go
Uh,
up and
uh,
see that. And, that's something that we've learned too, I mean, I guess if you ever wanted to, try to tell somebody about what we do, if you don't have a lot of birds and, you get that, well, I don't think this is going to be a good hunt, go hunt it anyways. Because we've had times where like, man, we don't really know what to expect. This is a trial and error. And some of those days have been the best days that we've had in the field.
100%, because as you said earlier, them birds can get far away quick, and you might be the far away place. I mean, they fly overnight. They won't down in your field or river system, swamp, whatever you're hunting, and they could turn it on day by day. It's not they're here for 6 months. I mean, some places maybe, but not where I hunt. You might have them there that day, maybe the next day, and then that's it. You might have to go find somewhere else.
Yep, yep, you very might have to.
Well, Coy, man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I want to give you a chance if there's anything you want to talk about or discuss or give somebody a shout out, whatever it is. The floor is yours, man.
I mean, I really appreciate you having me on. This is my first podcast I've ever done actually, and it's nice to be able to talk about something I'm so passionate about. But if I was to give any advice, like we've said earlier in this, just enjoy it. Don't let it get you down and you know discourage you from hunting. And take the kids. Get other people into it, get a good group of guys because it could be the funnest stuff that you ever do. I mean, the laughing and just the camaraderie of everybody, you know, is something that you can't beat.
No, 100%. It's definitely we use the word fellowship a lot on this podcast, but it really is. I mean, you get a group of guys that have the same passion, the same drive, same willpower, and all the same plan as you, and especially the ones like you're talking about that allow the kids to be the first person doing it. I mean, that says a lot about the group of guys that you hunt with, and that's the most that's the most very important thing that we can do is grow these youth and these young kids to grow up the right way and set themselves up for their generation.
Yeah, man, because that's what's coming up next. Once we're gone and we're not able to do this, or we get old and we can't get out in that field. The kids that we're teaching is what's going to be teaching their kids, and we want to have a good conservation for them to have. When it's time for them to hunt.
Yep. I know waterfowl and goose hunters, we get a bad rap, right? But in all honesty, it's really only a few group of people. I know that's all it takes, but for the most part, usually I never run into any issues. I mean, everybody's real respectful. You can always tell which ones aren't, but if you got 50 people at a boat ramp, there might be one, that's really bad, or two. It's not going to be half like people like to portray. It's really a good bond for everybody.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we've run into some people that it's like, man, just to stay away, or hey, it's not worth fighting over this field, and just go make something of that. Go find another field, get into, or hey, go scout. And we've not hunted days because somebody's been there, or we've got there at the same time, and like, those guys are like, hey, you're not hunting with us, but we got here first. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man, and we'll go scout. I mean, we'll salvage a day of doing something like that, and the next day we'll go kill them.
Yeah, so most of the time, the people that talk the loudest aren't on birds. I mean, they might get a couple of good shoots, but people that act like that, they usually don't get theirs for the most part.
Yes, sir. You are correct there.
Well, brother, like I said, it was great talking to you. This first time we've actually talked. I get that a lot. People that always ask me like, "Well, how you know that guy?" And I'm like, "I don't know. That's the first time I ever talked to him." And said, "Well, y'all sound like y'all been hunting together for years." But I think it's just the way people can communicate, and you got two people talking about something that's passion to them. It's it's like me and you've been hunting together for years.
Yeah, that's what, when I met Jordan and he's like, yeah, he said, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, man, I've never done one, but yeah, I will. And I'm fortunate enough that, with my job, I've met a lot of good people that are passionate, of waterfowl hunting from Louisiana and everything. And, they're like, hey, we've never shot a goose. Like, come on, well, I'll take you. I can't promise anything, but come on. I mean, I'm down for getting somebody's first.
Oh,
Come and enjoy it.
oh yeah, absolutely. Because you're with them in that moment, and they're gonna react just like they were 8 years old again. If they get, their first pintail or gadwall, widgeon, whatever it might be. I mean, you're a part of that, and they'll never forget you for it. So that's what it's all about, man. It's all community.
Yep. Yep, that is correct, buddy.
Well, Coy, I appreciate you coming on the show, and stay rugged, my friend. I hope to have you on the show again.
Hey, thanks for having me, man, and have a good 2026, 2027 season. I hope you guys kill some really good birds. Hopefully the season comes, plentiful for you, and I'll do the same thing.
The pinnacle of precision and performance. This is the entire focus of the Ultra Arrow, and this is why it exists, so archers can constantly achieve precise accuracy with every arrow released. Ultra Arrows is ran by archers, developed by archers. The ultimate goal is bringing you an arrow that exceeds expectations. This is why this year we'll be partnering with Ultra Arrows and the rest of the outdoor group. We'll be shooting the Phantom Arrow series. Visit ultraarrows.com today to order yours and stay rugged.